Morning. How is everybody today? Excuse my attire. I had a crazy morning already. But hope you guys had a great weekend. So we are going through Value Square today, but I do have a couple of things to go over beforehand. Let me share my screen. Hold on just one second because I have some exciting news to share with you guys about Canva. So do you guys remember? I'm going to share it now. Hold on one second. When we've joined Canva, when we first got Canva Enterprise, we could not kind of use your own brand, which is a big part of what we do here, right? So, can you guys see my screen? Hopefully so. And if not, you'll stop me. I'll just assume yes. So, Colette with Go, who does all the marketing for our, franchise, actually just announced this. So she said, I'm just going to read it to you. They quietly solved one of the biggest brand gaps in Keller Williams ecosystem, and agents haven't even seen it yet. So anyways, they were talking to Sandra, who is the new chief marketing officer. And they were trying to fill that gap, right? So that we could actually pull our brands over and make our own brand kits side by side with Keller Williams. So now they've just updated. There should be in the brand kit tool something called, it just says brand kits, and now it says new, that you can put your colors, your fonts, your identity integrated into Canva so that you can put your assets in there. So because the agents who win next won't use these tools, let's fully utilize them and make them unique to serve their purpose and help them scale. That's where brand becomes true leverage. Thank you, Sandra, for hearing our voice here at the Go Network. So I thought that was awesome because I know everybody that did Brand in a Day, that was kind of when Canva first came out and we were able to start like using it, but then we only had Keller Williams branding in there. So now you are able to go in there and fully make your own brand kit so that you can brand to your own personal brand. So anyways, I thought that was awesome. So if you guys have any questions about that, honestly, she just put that out like an hour ago. So I don't have a lot of info. I haven't played with it. But if you do, hit me up and tell me how it is. Or if you have any questions as you go through, I'm going to play with it a little bit later. But anyways, I thought that was awesome. So today we're going through value squared. So let me share my screen again and head over to value squared. Hopefully it has the right page pulled up still. And it does. So today we're talking about negotiating the contract. So the goal of this stage is to negotiate the best price terms and execute it in writing. I know when you're new and even as you maybe list a lot and you're starting to think about you're writing for a buyer, you get out of the habit of some of these like techniques. I know I do. I'm like, oh, how can I get creative? I kind of have to rethink about it. So this is kind of your steps of what to follow, right? So first you want to gather data, contact the listing agent for details, status, build rapport. Outside of the price, what's the most important thing to your seller? So honestly, dig a little bit deeper. So this is the thing I do, and I think it's best practice. How we say go 3 deep, right? For your clients, go 3 deep with that agent. Talk to them about what is important to their seller, right? If they say, oh, it's price. Oh, okay, so just what they net, or does it matter how quickly, right? Because then you're thinking about holding costs, right? So sometimes that factors in. And there may be some other, digging deeper on the questions with the listing agent so that you can get the best idea for what you may negotiate in the contract and write in your offer. I know multiple offers are still happening right now. I was helping an agent yesterday write an offer who had a deadline for today. So yeah, multiple offers are definitely still happening in this market. So this section, which you can find obviously in Connect, is huge. Do a refresh CMA and then review any additional disclosures and documents that have now become available. Let's see. Writing the offer. So prices, terms, personal property, conditions, buyers, agents, commissions, if applicable. These are all things that you can negotiate, but y'all, every single line, this is something I tell everyone, and it's just a good reminder. Special stipulations is there because everything in that contract is negotiable, right? So you can get creative with incentivizing or changing even the typed out terms. You can change what it says up there in special steps, right? And obviously, be careful and talk to a lawyer about verbiage and things like that. But if you're like, hey, to be competitive, I could do this or that or change this term, you can definitely get creative with anything that you're comfortable getting creative with. But here's just like some of the terms, right? So delivering the offer. I don't know about y'all, but I think the delivery of the offer is actually, it shows the other agent on the other side. In my opinion, like be a professional. It shows the agent on the other side how professional you are, how you deliver this offer, right? So if you deliver it um, pieced together to where they don't have all of the documents that they may need. If you give them a full file, right, of everything they need, fully executed on your side, so that it easy, they just think like, wow, this person's already got it together, right? Um, so delivering the offer, obviously, with your letter, maybe with some of those terms. I like to deliver it in an email. Um, like, hey, this is the terms, and type it out so that I'm very clear. And it's easy for them to go and read and review. So delivering the offer, I think, is a special touch in how you deliver it. Obviously, negotiating the offer is just depends on how they respond, right? But that delivery is kind of a it's one of those touch points, right? That you can make it special and make it to where you stand out a little bit so that that listing agent is like, okay, like this person's going to be easy to work with because this delivery of this offer was so smooth, right? Um, and then obviously you negotiate the offer. And then from there, you're going to navigate due diligence. So um, again, it's value squared, right? So how can we make sure that all of these little steps are special? And it's kind of like that book I think I've told you guys about a few times. I haven't read it, but I did hear the author speak. Unreasonable hospitality, right? So how can you make every little step of the process smooth, systematized, and a little bit special? So opening escrow and title, that is where you're gonna send your offer right to title company. But you want to make sure you do an intro to your client, right? So make sure that they're super comfortable. They know who their contact is at the title company. Make sure they know who not, like, hey, if it's not from this person or this title company, you do not need to do any, like, because wire fraud is real, right? Um, so just making sure you're introducing them to all parties, I think is super important. Um, and maybe even I have a template that I send out, right? So it makes it sound like me and look like me, and they get all the info that they need when we're opening escrow and sending that over to title and sending it over to the lender. You notify the lender. So same style of email. You're going to notify them with any details, making sure, that they see everything. Honestly, guys, something that I do, and it may be an unnecessary step, but I have had lenders and title companies miss terms if there's a lot of back and forth on countering and things like that. I usually try to tell them the terms, right? So I'm going to say, like, hey, it's this amount. The seller is contributing this amount. Our close date is this. This is a term that we negotiated. Just wanted to point it out so that nothing's missed in the contract. And it may be like repetitive, but at least nothing's going to get missed because mistakes do happen, right? So sometimes they may miss one line that changes the whole thing. Um, let's see, conducting the property inspection. Again, obviously give them a few options of inspectors that they could hire. And then you're going to walk them through. So one thing I do, and I'll be honest, is my coach told me, right? Send it to them to review, but then you review it prior and y'all just set an appointment to look over it later together. And I go line by line with them of what it could. Hey, shh, no, ma'am. I'm sorry. My daughter's sitting right here talking and she's not supposed to. So negotiating repairs, I'm going to go through line by line and make sure they're comfortable with every single thing and talk them through, hey, like this is something that we can take care of with $50 at Lowe's. Hey, I know this list is big. Like the whole time you're just like let's go through and make sure you're comfortable um, and like get realistic with it, right? So that is something to navigate in a way where you want to make sure they know that you're on their side and um, that you're also looking out for a win-win situation, right? Meeting milestones on a contingency calendar. So you do have the checklist inside of the, um, excuse me, what am I trying to say? It used to be in DocuSign, but now we're going over Lone Wolf, so I'm sure there will be a similar contract. And obviously the TAR has one as well. But one thing to do, especially if you're newer, and honestly, if you're busy, right? Put those contingency dates in your calendar of like, hey, this is when, for this property, it's due by this date. That way, you're not forgetting anything, dropping the ball, or missing out on something. And I mean, I'll tell you, I've had a friend, an agent friend, who miscounted the days, right? And thank goodness there was only like one or two things her client wanted to do and she just did it for them. But it could have been a big, big problem if she miscounted her contingency days, right? So don't be that person. Make sure you put it in your calendar and it's not just on the back burner. Another thing with contingencies too is I like to do them as fast as possible. So if I have 10 days, right, I'm going to go ahead and do it right now and get through that contingency as fast as possible because you never know what you're going to find on an inspection and you may have to get other professionals out there, right? So something to keep in mind. I will say sometimes I get lax on that and it always messes me up. So if you can avoid that, like my luck, I'm going to need to get a foundation specialist out there who needs a few days and then that becomes an issue. So I think just speed to lead and speed in this business, getting things done as fast as possible so that if there are hiccups, you still have plenty of time is a huge deal. And then work with the listing agent to solve any disputes between clients. So I'm going to stop sharing because this is my favorite story to tell. So you and the listing agent, right? So this is just a crazy story, but y'all are co-op agents, right? That means you're supposed to cooperate with each other. So always keep that in mind when you're in the middle of negotiations and having conversations or when things go wrong, honestly, because sometimes it's your client's fault that things are going wrong. And you have to work with that agent to try to get it. So your whole job is to hold this deal together, meaning you're going to solve every problem that happens, right? So if somebody tells you it's impossible, go to someone else and ask if they think it's possible. And I mean, exhaust all of your options, right? Um, so I once had a client who I was a listing agent. I had a offer from someone who had a conventional loan. And I called and verified because we had multiple offers, right? I verified with the lender. Hey, are they good? Have you verified all things? They said, yes, yes, yes. They're 100% solid. They're putting X amount of dollars down, which was a lot. I was like, okay, and you verified, whatever. That lender did not verify. They told me yes on the phone. And then she said, oh, I mistyped her social and it came up and it was the wrong person. And I was like, there's no way that she actually did it. So, but when this agent called me, she called me and said, hey, Linda, how are you? Hey, listen, we have a little issue and we're going to get through it together. I don't want you to stress out. Between the two of us, we're going to figure this out. And I was like, because she handled it that way, I said, okay, what have we got? Right. And it was that she's self-employed. She couldn't get approved. She had to switch to FHA and the lender couldn't do it. And did I know any lenders who could help a self-employed person? So I got her with a lender that I knew could help her and we did figure it out and we did close. But if she had approached me with like, hey, we can't approve, I'm trying to figure it out, I'll let you know, I would have freaked out. But she started this conversation with, hey, we do have a hiccup. You and me, we're going to work together. I know between the two of us, with all of our experience, like we're going to get through this deal. So don't freak out, but I do have to tell you, right? So she prefaced it with like, hey, like we're going to get through this together. And it honestly did calm me down. So I was like, you know what? I have a lender. I think she can help her. Like, I'll put you in touch with her. I put them in a three-way and we closed on time. So always remember that when you're um, even if you're the one who has to deliver bad news, right? Come at it from a calm place, calm yourself before you even deliver it. Um, and then come at it from a place of, hey, let's work together, because I think that makes a big difference of how your body language and your voice is when you're delivering bad news, right? But that's all I got today for Value Squared. I hope you guys have an awesome Monday. Go do some lead gen. Let's close some deals. I know we're having awesome months right now, so we have a lot to celebrate, and I think we are going to do some fun celebrating next month. So y'all have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Call me if you need anything. Bye.